there's a free forum with comment section where all these people activists come in here, write a little note, slip it in an envelope, you'll get a lot more response to the legislature.
Well, and one of the things that I'm aware of is there's been talk about circulating a petition on this issue, and so that's kind of one of the things that we're hoping to do is to try and make it easier for people to communicate their opinion on this issue to their legislators. And so I don't know if we'll be able to have something available this weekend, but importantly, if we can have people talking in their saddle clubs or 4-H clubs or any of the organizations that they're part of talking about this issue, that's just a ready-made opportunity to educate, but also to circulate petitions and try and make legislators aware that this is an issue that people really want to address. So we definitely want to, if anyone has questions about how they can help that happen, I've got a whole set of cards up here. Please feel free to take one. If you know people who are practicing these professions, please take several of my cards and make sure that they get copies. Because we do suspect that the board is going to start targeting more people, and we want them to have immediate access to whatever help we might be able to afford. Illinois has similar laws. Actually, the thing is, a lot of states have similar laws. The American Veterinary Medical Association created model legislation, and a lot of states just kind of adopted the model legislation exactly as written. And it was written as favorably as possible to veterinarians to make sure that they had exclusive access to as many practices as possible. And so that's why we have the language, anything done to alter an animal's physical or mental condition. You can't get much broader than that. That was language drafted by the National Veterinary Medical Association. And a lot of states adopted this, and Missouri was one of those states.
Well, that's still on the line. You're going to end up with this dressage school down here.
Right. Well, actually, and training horses, imprinting horses, changes their mental condition. And so yeah.
That's going to shut down William and make felons out of horseshoeing schools.
Right. Yeah.
I know not all veterinarians are failing.
Well, you're right.
Those are the guys you want to run out of business. You're going to go, this is it. You ain't getting it.
We expect next week to have, for certain, the identity of the veterinarian who was complaining about Brooke. I'm not certain. Huh? No, not yet. She has a suspicion of who it was. We don't know for certain.
They haven't disclosed who is bringing her to trial. She's got lost.
Well, but that's we've demanded that they disclose that, and that's part of what we're getting next week. So they'll be fulfilling their obligation. It's just taking some time to do it.
Now, who's the judge who covered that?
The judge, the what? Oh, no one's covered it up yet. We're early enough in the process that they just hadn't provided that information yet. Like, oh, no. The lawsuit was only filed in September. Yeah, so it's only been a couple of months into it. So far, the state is following the proper procedure. Like, I don't want to give anyone the impression that they're bending the rules as far as the way they prosecuted. Well, actually, I take that back. They are bending the rules as far as how they're prosecuting the case, because the law specifically says you cannot ask to shut down someone doing what Brooke is alleged to be doing unless you also bring every other penalty that's provided for in the statute. That includes the criminal penalties. So they have not yet filed criminal charges against Brooke. We were concerned that they would. That's what they did in Oklahoma against Bobby Griswold. And so we were concerned that they were going to file criminal charges against Brooke. As of last Tuesday, the Assistant Attorney General says they're not going to press criminal charges. Well, if they don't press criminal charges, technically they're not allowed to bring the case against her. And so that's one of the things we expect to argue as well.
They tricked you on that.
Well, they're
administrative charges.
Right. Well, yes. And so I've been doing a lot of research on this issue because of the way it's all come out. What they do, or what has become the common practice, is for a law to make something a criminal offense, but also to make it an enjoinable act. And so if the government doesn't think that they can get a conviction, or if they don't want to give someone a jury trial, they leave the criminal charges alone and go for an injunction, which is basically a court saying you're not allowed to do that. And then if they continue to do whatever the judge said not to, they can be thrown in jail, they can be fined, and there are very few limits on the amount of the fines or the amount of the jail time, and you don't get a jury trial for those things. And so starting back 80 years ago, courts started allowing the government, the legislatures, to pass these laws that basically let you avoid the right to a jury trial. And so that's what we're fighting with Brooke, is making sure that they can't pull this sleight of hand. You know, if they're going to threaten her livelihood and her freedom, we want to make sure that she's entitled to the full protections of the law. And so that's one of the things that we're fighting. I have instructed Brooke not to say anything about what she may or may not be doing. So.
I have a question about
Yes, Mindy.
the ramifications for us as horse owners for using drugs such as Valium when you have to get it in the vein or your horse is colicky, or dewormer. Dewormer is something that is sold everywhere, but it alters the state of the natural horse. Because naturally, you see what I'm saying? If this happens to her, then you get someone like my friend I talked to you about that goes, oh, well, she's deworming her horses and she immunizes her own horses and she uses a rasp on her own horse's foot. She's not licensed to do these things. Now we're going to take her to jail.
If you the actual
owner,
the owner or a full.
but is it going to go that way? See, I'm wondering if they're going to
Okay, so here's an important point of law that Mindy brings up that's applicable to anyone who owns a horse. Under the law, you are not allowed to immunize your own animals.
Not at all.
You can no. You are permitted. If someone wanted to, they could float their own horse's teeth. They could trim their own horse's hooves. They could do that sort of thing. But when it comes to immunizations, the law specifically says you have to have a licensed vet to do it. I actually quote it on the first page of the Animal Husbandry Advisory down here at the bottom. The law specifically says only a licensed veterinarian may immunize or treat an animal for diseases which are communicable to humans and which are of public health significance. So my understanding of that is a disease. We had the state vet talking earlier about various diseases that he was worried about getting into the horse population in Missouri. My understanding is that those would constitute diseases of public health significance. You're not allowed to immunize for those on your own. You have to go to a licensed vet to do it.
They're talking like rabies.
I wouldn't presume to put a
West Nile, rabies,
Sure.
but our five-way, we can still continue to buy our five-way. Well, you can buy it legally now. And that's the question, is if the law says we can't, then why do you buy it legally?
Because the board hasn't been enforcing the law.
Gotcha.
Now, don't get me wrong. I'm happy that they haven't been enforcing the law, but it's a problem when you've got a law on the books that is so far from common sense that they know that they shouldn't be enforcing it. What we really ought to do is reform the law so that the law conforms with common sense, and so we're hopeful that that's something that the legislature will take up. But in the meantime, we're fighting hard for Brooke's right to earn a living in her profession. Do you have any other questions? All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Maybe in that, she gets to be